when I read the UMPA's report about how people were bundled in vans and tied with sheets, and how they were chosen, like, as he described it, like cattle at an auction. I mean, I couldn't just imagine in our new democracy and in a department where we put up an act and put in as the objectives, one of the objectives, human rights. And human rights come and be breached in this manner, in a way that is reminiscent of our apartheid era, not the democracy. It's very painful. That's why I feel, personally betrayed that colleagues who were working with could do something like that. So my appearance today in this gathering was in terms of the recommendation and to try and shed some light. And I'm disappointed once more that I'm unable, after 18 months, to shed some light as to what was the motive of this. Why should human beings plan to do something like this, advertently or inadvertently? It's very painful. I don't know whether the families will find it in their hearts to forgive us for what has happened, because it should not happen to any human being, not even your worst enemy. And I'm very sorry.
Sanmonana, welcome to Daily Thetha. Igama lami Kini nonke waka Shandu, and namhlanje sibheka umnyango wezempilo la eNingizimu Afrika ukuthi ngempela are we in crisis. If uzobheka kahle njengoba esekhulumile nje uminister, masibheka indaba ye-life esidimeni as well, looking at what happened at Charles Maxeke Hospital as well, nase Northwest nakwezinye indawo ezahlukahlukene where abantu bebhaswa indawo ezikude because kunenkinga, ama-oncologists awekho or ezinye zezinto ezikhona azikho. Sasibheka isimo sokusebenza ebhedlela namaklinika ethu, ngabe ugculisekile yona njengomhlalo waseNingizimu Afrika, ubona ukuthi kunechashaza elikhona ocabanga ukuthi ngempela kumele likline. Njengamanje ke if ngomunye wabantu abangilapho uthi sesibhedlela esithize wangaphatheka kahle, wabona ukuthi inkinga ikuphi, give us a call. It's 011-339-1315 for funders kuzo zonke inkundla zokuxhumana. Hashtag yakhona it's the Daily Thetha, kanti kuyena otele ngolimi lezandla sisufothu wakaMadlala. Nicolette, wakwaba sesimeni lapho khona public hospital or a clinic, wathola ukuthi isimo sokuphatheka khona awuphathekanga kahle, kokwenze njani?
Ke nka go botsa ke re ke ile ka Masana Hospital in Bushbuck Ridge, ke lwala ke na le problem ya pelo. Bankensa in a ward, I'm sitting in this ward, re go tla di nurse clarify our medication ya bosiu. They've covered themselves. I'm asking myself, why are these nurses covering themselves? When I ask, no, the patients in TB in the ward.
And night.
I'm not TB mina, but I'm sitting in a ward with patients that have TB. You can imagine if they go to a public hospital, the longer they stay, the more sick they get.
I think that's why we see cases amaning. We look at 2,000 cases where abantu bezama ukubopha ibhedlela or clinic thize because bakhala ngokuthi mhlapho wa misdiagnosed wangento thize. So that's what we're finding out namhlanje. But otherwise sibingeleni wonke umuntu okhona la endlini. Welcome to Daily Thetha mafowethu.
Kini re thoma ga sesikwena re kwena sesikwena go phelo ba hao. I mean, ke mputsa question ya gore na have I ever experienced, especially go public hospital, where I've felt like my life was put in danger? Una le any experience tsona leo?
Ke na le experiences tsona leo because ke ile ka kula ka ya hospital. Ha ke le hospital ntwe ke experiences tse ngore manese a rona ha o kula ha ba o notify gore o motho ba onka esifu animal, wa understand, especially if o ka thola goreng at that moment ona le a chronic disease, wa understand. So it means bona baka tshwane le those people ba bana le chronic. And then the other time e ke lenga experience ke engwe gape ke goreng my uncle o sale akula aba ko hospital only to find out goreng o dutse mo oding e le goreng o fuwa medication all wrong. Wa understand
medication o wrong.
Re tsibile ka last minute.
Yo.
Asa letso ke only 2 hours gore a tlhokofale. Ya be le gona ba re mpotse nano medication for the whole 3 years ano medication wrong and then abe gore o lose bophelo ba gae wa bana sometimes di betlele tsa rona tsa public ba re faila.
So problem bona ka re iko kae wena iko ma nursing kapa ke system because le ma nurse lona ba re fella pelo wa understand and then le di management area tsa bona if you go there and complain batla o botsa gore hai lena le rata o complain I mean I can't go there kilo complain ke sa bone problem. Yes, Kini, and I don't think there's anybody more fasting who complain because complaining means that you are now frustrated.
You know what, Nicolette, enyezi into kumele sibhekisa kakhulukazi ukuthi inkinga umnyombo wayo ukuphi before siqale conversation yethu nomaza ngomunye wabantu osebenzana nomnyango wezempilo. I just want to find out from you ukuthi wena mawubheka kakhulukazi inkinga esibhekene nayo ikuphi because almost every paper there's a story reported about umnyango wezempilo la emhlabeni eNingizimu Afrika njengamanje.
Thank you. Sinenkinga yokugcwala kwezibhedlela la ngenxa ye shortage ye staff uthola ukuthi abantu sebetholakala belele emabhenjini aba-athendiwe. Umuntu afike ebusuku azathole uku-attendwa ne-treatment nge-following day ngoba istaff siyashoda noma kuthiwe imibhedi facility ayikho enough imibhedi iyashoda. So kufanele ngabe mangabe ishoda imibhedi phela kuleso sibhedlela umuntu arefeywe kwesinye isibhedlela lapha azofike athole khona i-treatment because umuntu uma eze esibhedlela ushiye umbhedi ukhona ekhaya then uyagula ifamily imlethe esibhedlela so kufanele athole usizo ngaso leso sikhathi efika umuntu kungathiwa hayi hlalani laphayana kusagcwele noma odokotela bekho bazoze bakubona ekseni. What was the reason ukuthi ifamily ithatha umuntu ekhaya imhambise esibhedlela kanti nasesibhedlela uyohlala mhlawumbe ufike ngo9 ebusuku kuthi udokotela uzozumbone ngakusasa uma esesenza ama rounds ngabo 9 bengimsuselani then umuntu ekhaya ngimhambise esibhedlela kanti akazokulithola usizo.
You know into isho icishe ihambisana nento ekasho uDumsani earlier on Dumsani ukhala ngokuthi as well kumele si understand ukuthi abantu baningi kakhulu nama nurse mancane and ama nurse wona enza ukuthi umsebenzi uze because they end up doing extra hours because bazama ukuservice umphakathi. Is that the case?
Yes, also enye inkinga ukuthi like for instance mawudela nomuntu akufani nokudela nemoto. Imoto iyastripper ne uhlolo ibheke ubone ukuthi okay the problem is here with gearbox umuntu you can't strip that a human being. So sometimes especially in issue misdiagnosis ikubana the medical fraternity only deals with biopsy, blood test, urine test to try and find a root cause. And then that's on top of statistics. So with 1.2 million people who pay in KZN alone by petrol sugar. So imagine South Africa, all the provinces. And now how much personnel do we have? So the root cause needs to be addressed, not just upega or nurse and Nabanda Basevenza and put the blame on them. Give us good services. Tonight we don't know what it's like to be in their shoes.
Oh, okay. I think that's what we have to interrogate as well going forward.
But we can't leave the fact that your job is your job at the end of the day, and you've chosen to be a nurse. We have understaffed.
Kunjalo istaff asekho and kunabantu abatrainwe years ago namanje umsebenzi akaze bawuthola and mawufuna umsebenzi bathi bafuna experience uzoyithatha phi experience ungasebenzile because at least kufanele ukuthi at least bawathathe lamanesi angakasebenzi eze mhlambe azo volunteer babanikeze imali mhlambe imali ake ngithi imali yensipho just ukuwasha mhlambe noma nama cosmetics so then bezothola iexperience sizoqashwa kuphi singasebenzi because mabefuna iexperience abasiqashe phela then we get iexperience iCV yethu ibe yinhle so ke into engicabanga ukuthi idala yonke le chaos ukuthi istaff asikho and laba abvele basebenzayo vele baba frustrated ngenxa ukuthi umsebenzi is too much for them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and I mean that's what they've asked for. They've asked for a job. So if unyaka mereko, tshwantse ubake umake mereko. But I mean, Kini, 696 clinics that have been conducted and a lot of inspections have been done and only 5 of them achieved 80%.
Asizo ngawe khaya ukuthi thina phathu uhlela lamhlanje mdlaphela yakuthinta inamba yethu ayishintshile it's 011 339 1315 asamenze sokhokhela idolo siyabuya after this.
Left stranded for a second day at Mapulaneng Hospital in Bushbuck Ridge in Mpumalanga. Doctors, nurses and support staff affiliated to Union Nahawu and SAMA have downed their tools. They're demanding more staff, more medication and improved working conditions.
A hospital in crisis, filthy and dysfunctional. Patients are vulnerable. The condition is dire.
I help all the patients. Then here, we are not eating nicely food. That food is not okay, so it's damaging our stomach. Like the beans every day.
Patients discharging themselves, and some forced to leave without being attended to and without medication.
We have a relative that has died and we need to take him to a mortuary. They said we must come next week.
I was here since 6 o'clock in the morning to collect my high blood pressure medication, but I didn't get it.
Workers are up in arms, demanding action.
As we speak, our theatre is closed. It's not been functional for the past 3 months. The roof in theatre is leaking, the aircons are not functioning, the autoclave machine, the one that we use to sterilize the instruments that we use to operate patients, is not working.
We've wrote several letters. They came down, they made an assessment of the entire hospital, a risk assessment of the entire hospital. They found plenty of faults. The HOT signed it.
The Department of Health is intervening.
We'll agree, we'll ratify. Each and every hospital we are going to advertise all the priority key posts that they've identified within a week or two.
The safety of workers is also a cause for concern. A doctor was shot and injured.
Welcome back to Daily Thetha. And the healthcare system in South Africa. You know, Kini, just looking at that insert and being reminded that is the only hospital. That's the only one she can go to because that's the closest one. I mean, the next private hospital is almost 100 kilometers away from Ebushi. So it really gives me so much heartache looking at it and knowing this is the reality. You know, the Minister of Health, Aaron Matsueledi, said that the hospital or the healthcare system is not collapsing, it's in distress. And I can't sit here and agree with him because looking at that, you can see there's a serious problem. But we are joined on the couch to have this conversation with Ntate Jack Bloom, who is a member of parliament and also representing the Democratic Alliance. Welcome to Daily Thetha. We also have Masutane Mojaji, who is, you know, you work for an agency, Health E, and I'm sure every single thing that is happening that is in this country that concerns the health sector that is probably wrong before we even start with the right. Welcome to Daily Thetha.
Thank you.
Let's go straight into the conversation, Tate Bloom. Maybe perhaps if you can paint a picture for us of the healthcare system in this country currently.
Well, I think it's very, very mixed.
Okay.
You know, there's certain provinces are better. Gauteng is better than the rural provinces, but that's not saying much. If you go to a state hospital very near here, you will have long queues. This is the big problem. And the waiting list for an operation, even at a large hospital like Chris Hani Baragwanath, you can waste 5 years for a hip operation. Can you imagine going to a hospital, you're in pain from a hip, and they say, please come back in June 2023. Now, that's unacceptable. The same with cataract operations. All our hospitals are under extreme pressure. And then we find that, you know, we're short of doctors, but we find that there's unemployed doctors walking around.
Yes.
What's the problem? Well, there's something wrong with the way the budgets are spent. Gauteng health budget is 46 billion rand, which is a huge amount of money. That's about the same size budget as the whole city of Cape Town. If you spent that money properly and efficiently, effectively, but you know, there's a lot of wastage, there's a lot of corruption, and they don't do things properly. And certain parts of the budget they didn't spend at all. You could go to any hospital in Gauteng, you'll find that there's parts that are falling apart. There's broken machinery. Yet last year, the Gauteng Health Department didn't spend their full budget for machinery and for repairs to buildings.
So is it a distress or a collapse?
Well, it's a collapse in certain parts. I don't think one must exaggerate because there are very fine doctors and nurses who are working under terrible conditions and trying to provide the best care that they can do. So let's not exaggerate. It's very uneven. A province like Gauteng, it's mixed, very bad, but we also have some very dedicated people doing good work. In the more rural provinces, it's a complete collapse because I don't see what sort of health care they're getting there, and that's why many patients from other provinces come to Gauteng, and Gauteng can't cope with it.
Sure.
Let me come to you, Siswami, because as a health E, abantu abaningi masivula lo hlelo kube nama emotions ahlukahlukene. Some are saying ukuthi yes, there is a problem ebhedlela kahulumeni, and abanye futhi bakhala ukuthi actually let's look at ama-nurse ne-stress ababhekana nazo as well. What are some of the problems enwatholile as you guys doing your own research?
I think the frustration of health workers is one thing that came clearly to us. Hence the strikes that we are seeing. People are frustrated, and once health workers are frustrated, patients will be, that frustration also spills to patients who
When
rely.
you talk about frustration, I'm sorry to jump in. Yini leba frustrated kanga?
In Gauteng recently, the problem was really the overburdening of staff that already exist, not replacing staff that leaves the public health sector, and also unpaid bonuses and unpaid overtime. So those are some of the stressing points for the health workers, and you find that patients don't really understand this frustration. They queue for a very long time. They don't understand that the health workers are working double shifts without getting paid the bonuses and overtime, and then they in turn take out their frustration on health workers. So it becomes abuse of health workers that are already in the system because of the frustrations that really is not of their making. As Mr. Bloom has mentioned, there's a lot of maladministration. We have leadership crisis at a public health institution. It was also something that we saw with the Office of the Health Standards Compliance, which released a report last weekend that really governance and leadership is a big problem in health facilities, especially when you go into more local, rural clinics as well. The problems become bigger.
We've got a social media coming in for both yourself, Sesimi Jaji, and Mr. Bloom. Jade the lazy Jabile Zwane. I wish I was there to share my story regarding government sector. I miscarried 3 times because I was put on hold for some certain patients as I was supposed to be taken to theatre and I hope they were there to give me an answer. Dr. Bloom, who's to blame in this kind of situation?
Well, there's probably equipment that's broken, they're probably short of staff, unfortunately lives are lost. We've seen this, and there's a lack of management, there's a lack of leadership. We have to ask ourselves, as the minister himself asked, how could something as terrible as Esidimeni have happened? But it should never happen in any well-functioning health system, but it did happen, and we have other Esidimenis happening of a different type.
Yes,
very vulnerable people dying, we don't know where they're dying, and here you could have had 3, this lady could have probably had 3 extra children had she been taken to theatre on time.
Dr. Bloom, earlier on you said, it might not be a total collapse I'm assuming in Gauteng, because obviously inner city things seemingly are better, more Gauteng. Now, looking at that incident, looking at Bushbuckridge, Mapula Hospital, and looking at every other rural area, more South Africa, who do we blame there? What do we blame? Do we blame the system there? Do we blame the nurses? Who do we blame? Because then there must be something wrong that if it works in Gauteng, why is it not working in the rural areas?
Well, as I said, it works in parts of Gauteng health system, but I think what you see in the provinces, the other provinces, there's massive corruption. Understand that Northwest Health Department's been put under administration because they gave an enormous tender to the Guptas. Now what's going on? This is money that should be going to healthcare, to save lives, and you're giving it to the Guptas. Now, we've also seen the situation in KwaZulu-Natal where, more than 500 people have died because they didn't get cancer treatment. I mean, that's more than Esidimeni. And yet the same MEC for Health, the provincial MEC for Health, is still there. He's been there for 9 years. And we know what went wrong. There was it looked like a corrupt tender. The machines weren't repaired. So actually, many times you find that the budget can go a lot further if you spent it properly, but if you're going to waste it and have corrupt tenders, then people die, and that's what happened in KwaZulu-Natal.
My sister, can you give me a microphone to sister on the side? You wanted to add on something when we open the show? Your comment, please.
Yes, I think the main problem here, it starts choose a career.
Yeah.
Some baya kwa health because banukuthi ngizothola umsebenzi na kanjani mangiqeda ukufunda. Not ipassion ingekho. That's why uthola ukuthi umuntu uya esibhedlela sikahulumeni uyafika laphana unesi akamtreat kahle. And uthola ukuthi omunye unenkinga ekhaya angikwazi ukushare istory sami with usisi wami ngenxa mhlawumbe indlela ayenza ngakhona izinto ukuthi uzoyidlulisa iye komunye umuntu. And uthola ukuthi mangifika esibhedlela ikhona la kumele khona ngikhululeke ngikhulume nonesi and angikwazi ngendlela yena angitreata ngayo. So I think I problem inkulu passion.
Okay. Sayithola kakhulu but maybe masithanda uzosiphendula masibuye breaking ukuthi ngempela basekhona onesi bobizwa bathi babizele kuba unesi it's about ukuthi imisebenzi ayisatholakala njengamanje so ngithatha noma yini esuke phambi kwami. Asame nise breaking siyabuya after this.
There's a group of clinicians that have been totally forgotten. They're called Clinical Associates. It's a program that was started by Dr. Andrew Truscott, may his soul rest in peace. And what's sad is the program actually died with him. And the sole purpose of the program was to alleviate pressure within the system, and particularly looking at rural settings. Now, they don't know what to do with these clinical associates, which is rather unfortunate in every respect. And what is even more shameful, particularly with our system, is that the focus is always on tertiary hospitals, and we forget the people in rural settings. They get the rough end of the stick, and they couldn't be bothered in the least because these people have no ways or means to access media on a larger scale like people in urban areas. If you're a minister, national minister, and you're retort all the time when there's an issue is to say that you have no powers within the province, so you can't exactly deal with issues decisively, which then comes back to Parliament as well. I mean, if they can alter the constitution, why not change that specific section and move health to national level as opposed to provincial level? Because as things are, we will have many many cases within the country, and it's sad it is impoverished and the vulnerable that are hit the hardest by all the buffoonery and silly decisions that are taken. I mean, it's rather unfortunate. With the minister, when he says something, you'd say it's casting stone, and he never listens. He spends more time vilifying healthcare workers more than anything else. I mean, there was, he was in the media, I think a year or two back, where he called nurses the devil in white. Call them the devils in white. I mean, that's disconcerting every sense of thought. I mean, how do you work in a system when you are being brandished a devil in white? And majority of the strikes can actually be averted if he listened with an intent to understand and not respond, because his is to respond whenever a complaint is taken to him. And sadly, the president, because he reports to the president and the cabinet, they allow this level of idiocy to permeate through the department at the detriment of patients.
Welcome back to Thetha. Sabheka umnyango wezempilo ukuthi is there a crisis ekhona, because it seems that if ikhona inhlese yabantu abathi cha akaphatheki kahle endaweni ezahlukahlukene ema-clinic as well. On the couch we do have ZUKI TSHABALALA, a clinical associate, as well as ubaba ke oyisakhamuzi nje uSinaba Mqonywa okhathazekile. Welcome to Thetha bafethu.
Yes, thank you very much.
Let's talk about this ZUKI. Abantu usisla mentioned something about the passion ukuthi we no longer have onus abane passion, and then again uSinabo usho something as well ukuthi if kunamagama ajijelwayo koness athize that can also kill the passion abanayo as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true. You know, you do find that there are a lot of people who just simply choose a career because they think that there is a guarantee of a job.
Yeah.
Now, that becomes a problem. However, with our particular program, the Clinical Associates, we actually select very carefully people that we know have experienced the health system and all of its downfalls.
Yeah.
So they have a very good understanding of what the health systems are, and they really have this desire to go back, and they want to go back, and they actually want to work not in the urban areas, not in the Gautengs of this world, but back in the rural areas. Now, what happens? They finish school, but they can't find jobs. You know, as the clip just said, you know, they don't even know what to do with the clinical associate. However, the clinical associate was designed, the curriculum is so specific. It is designed for the conditions within South Africa, the common conditions within South Africa. You know, when we train clinical associates, we teach them how to engage with patients in their own language. A lot of our students actually teach us about the beliefs of the South Africans who are the healthcare users themselves. So they have this very, you know, they understand what the need is. They want to help people that use the healthcare system, especially within the public sector. They don't want to go into the private sector. The problem is there are no more jobs for them in the public sector. You find places where supposedly people are short-staffed, but if they're short-staffed, there's the answer. There's clinical associates.
So what you are essentially saying, and we must mention that we did invite the Department of Health and the Ministry, but unfortunately they were not available to come to us. There's staff, the resources are there. You guys are being underutilized.
Absolutely underutilized. Underutilized, nobody wants to take the time to be creative in the way that they use this particular category of healthcare workers. They don't want to advance the healthcare workers. I heard somebody talking a little bit about the number of people that died because they were not able to have oncology services. Why not create, you know, areas of career pathing where this particular category of healthcare worker can then assist in the, you know, you can't keep saying we don't have enough staff, we don't have enough staff. We are creating answers. You know, we created a clinical associate who takes 3 years to train.
When was it created?
It's been in effect since 2010.
Sure.
You know, and here we are 8 years later, we are still having people who say, Kanti, what is a clinical associate? We've asked the Department of Health, please do some marketing about this particular profession. I mean, you know, within the impact, the positive impact they can make within the primary healthcare sector, so that people don't get so sick that they have to now start waiting in long lines for tertiary. It's incredible. The problem is we're not being utilized properly.
Let me come to you, Snabo, because I think for the first time, Masqala Sponoto Hotela Bebigisha was too but it seems as if it's something that is slowly becoming common. Njengamanje, even nama nurses as well, we've seen what happening in the Northwest. Kusbega Pitina Njengomphakathi.
In the dire state, in the dire state, in that the powers that be, God forbid, they have this propensity to only appear in the media, to buy face. And in the midst of buying that face, the vilification of healthcare workers is insurmountable, which makes no sense whatsoever, bearing in mind that the substrate of all the problems emanates from high above. I mean, it's not something that just started overnight. It's something that is building up. And sadly, the people who are hit the hardest is the people on the ground, particularly the ones who are voiceless. Voiceless in the sense that they do not have the necessary means to get their messages across the board.
I think I've seen a situation whereby Abapata, but I'm not going to mention names, comes in and saying the situation is under control. But back ngemuva, it's bad, it's terrible. Are you saying ukuthi ngempela abaphathi bethu bayakwazi ukuthi bavikele phambi kobuso and by our faces?
Of course, and I'm actually going to mention a name since you don't want to. The likes of Dr. Sbusiso Dlomo, who is a who is a moonlighter by profession, loves the media wholeheartedly, only shows up at hospital at night to vilify the people on the ground without understanding the context of what's happening inside the hospital. So it's actually a normative thing across the country, in that the only time you see these MECs is when they come out to say, good God, ZUKI, how dare you make the patient wait for 1 minute longer than they should have because you gave them particular principles. Now, in the midst of giving patients particular principles, what was forgotten in that as much as they're entitled to healthcare, healthcare workers too have rights. You cannot go there and use the most colorful adjectives because you're made wait. And another thing that the department has grossly failed in is teaching people about triage. Hospital settings, or clinics for that matter, are not a first come, first serve basis.
That is so true, because we are going to check a temperature, then yellow.
Yes, you will be triaged accordingly. Accordingly, and if government actually took time, like Kuzuki said, they're not creative about these things. You just throw things out there in the media, and you look good, you speak good English, and you throw semantics all over the place. But you do not educate people about it. I mean, it's all fair and well to have it out there, but if people are not educated about what it actually entails, then that will cause havoc of the highest order. It's like I was reading through Osisi, the one who purportedly had 3 miscarriages. So even with that, it all boils down to a case of miscarriage. I mean, triage, in that if you've got a gunshot abdomen,
you go first.
That will take precedence over that. And bearing in mind, yes, it has happened, yes, they'll be monitoring the bleeding, etc., but the patient who's most emergent will be seen. So it all boils down to education.
You can't deny the fact that even the nurses themselves, I understand the community at large, but triage, by understanding. But sometimes it seems like the nurses don't know how to communicate that triage themselves, because ignore. And then I talk about attender, but they don't give you the right information to say, yes, we understand you have a headache, but this side we have a gunshot wound.
I mean, that's where I was getting at, in that it all boils down to education.
Just hold on. Can you please get there right after the break? We're going to go for a quick ad break. When we come back, we're picking up with Mr. Snabo today to give us a better understanding of what within the healthcare units. Welcome back to Daily Thetha. And the healthcare system in South Africa. And I think right now we're going to delve a little bit deeper into the administration and what's actually happening as part of, the system that, for me, feels like it's broken. And we're expecting doctors and nurses and all these staff to work in a system that's broken. So they've got their own frustrations. We've got Tate Bloom back on the couch. But we've got a social media coming in before we start the conversation. 2004, I was abused in Edenton Hospital while Nyobeleta. I had a cesarean, right? Balimas are my baby. After a day, they brought my baby with a broken arm. They did not bother to explain what had happened. Even when my relatives came to visit me, they didn't even explain when I was discharged. I wanted to sue the hospital, but Bati, I will only manage to do so if I have a lawyer. Any comments on that?
Okay, all right. So I'm going to be very frank about it.
Yeah, let's have a frank conversation.
Yes, it's important that we have an honest conversation. So when it comes to surgeries, so when you sign the consent, you'll be alluded as to the risks thereof concerned about the surgery. And yes, when it happens, I mean, I don't know the dynamics around the specific case, but it is a complication of surgery. However, the information is that she needed a lawyer in order to institute legal action. Well, that's true to a certain extent, but then I think they were trying to obfuscate whatever was done to do a cover-up. I mean, I cannot speak into it because I don't have the facts of the case. So, but we need to understand the risk thereof attached to surgery.
I'm a human being. I understand the risks that you guys explain, and mind you, the way you guys explain it, you do it as a passing by thing. No one really sits you down to explain these huge risks. Something does happen. What is wrong by someone adule faselena? Okay, mama, because of 1, 2, 3, 4, because it sounds as if she's saying
so that's
no one
what
explained.
That's what I was saying, Uti. They were erroneous in that part by not coming to the mother to say X, Y, and Z. I mean, it all boils down to communication as well.
Yes.
And like you guys said earlier on, the system is overburdened. I mean, looking at specifically psychological services for healthcare workers, there's no debriefing, by the way. There is no such. It is a myth. It is a myth of magnitudinal proportions. There is no debriefing, because you don't have time to be holding hands and singing Kumbaya, because the queues just keep on growing and growing and growing.
So it's sorry, your relative is dead, we move on.
That's the reality. I mean, even for the health worker themselves.
Look, Jack, looking at what's currently happening now, looking at 2,000 cases that people actually trying to sue the Department of Health, do you think people have sort of a power or anything that they can use against hospital, or like Usnabo is saying right now, Guti, sorry, it's fine next time?
Look, I think there's got to be proper communication and proper management, but I'm a great believer in an effective complaints system. You know, hospitals, the better hospitals have a number or a desk, and you've got to go and see someone. And I think that the point about complaints is that they must be listened to and something must be done about it. It's no use going there and they just listen and then nothing happens. You've got to use complaints to improve the system. But you know, the medical negligence cases are skyrocketing. The latest figure for Gauteng Health is 22 billion rand potential claims if it goes to court, which is half the budget, the entire health budget. We can't go on like this. But if you look at where most of the cases happen, it happens with babies born with brain damage. Now, I really think there needs to be special care there. Obviously, we don't want any brain damage to happen to any baby or at all. So, but you know, even from a financial point of view, the department will pay 30 million rand for one case.
Sure.
And how are we going to fix up the rest of the health system if we're paying out 30 million rand in one case when you need it to fix up the health?
So you're taking money to be able to solve a problem that you could have avoided. But perhaps you know, you are the father of that young child who's got a broken arm. How do you feel by what Snabo just said? They're inundated with so many other patients. Papa, we are sorry, this has happened to your child.
Mina igama lami Ruben Zolile Dlanga from Eastern Cape. Nami story sami nje similar to lento egqobo kwenzeka apha. Mina ngikhuliswe ngumakhulu Eastern Cape sibathathu omama bethu basoleka singabantwana. So ndimo omdala i-firstborn. I was burying ugogo wami 2 weeks ago. Bem-admithe e-hospital ephethwe sisiso, yabo. Simane siya lapha e-hospital bathi amanapkin aphelile, we have to provide thina amanapkin.
In a state hospital.
Yeah. And secondly, ama-nurse, kucela ama-student nurse laphaya. Amanye bethu abantu like abantu abanama-patient, they have to come bayosizela abantu abakubo. So I had to be there 24/7 e-hospital, ngilala ngaphandle, nginapkena ugogo, ngimshentsha and everything. Sinini ugogo isisu ngiyasibona ukuthi siphelile manje laphaya nani, ngamthola isandla sakhe esidumbile sikhulu la. Then I was trying to check ukuthi kenzakalani. Wathi omunye esinye student nurse maybe i-drip. Ngithi no bra. Mawumbamba la umthinta isandla uyakhala, lo muntu uphukile lo muntu lo. Ngicela ubuze i-nurse above wena. Then babiza omunye u-nurse lo. Lokho umunurse lo ukhuluma ngeSotho, and I'm from Johannesburg nami bengiye lapha because of ugogo uyakhuluma. Ukhuluma ukuthi lo gogo lo naye ulala ngenye indlela la. So abanaso leso sikhathi sona sokuthi banakane abantu abanoba ukuthi umuntu makalale so baloko bamshifta because abanye abantu abekho. And ama student nurse bahlala eduze nalapha hospital, abanye abangena ama night shift lapha uthola ukuthi yithi lapha ya sibheke ama.
So you're feeling in.
So I'm feeling kahle
It's
nami.
a very sad situation. Okhuluma ngayo njengamanje, and but ipeleng ekmasiqala uhlelo uthena yena nathi singabantu ne-attitude esinayo inakho ukwenza ukuthi siprovoke ama-nurse agcina esekhuluma ngendlela. Ipeleng, you still having a-sentiment ethi ifana?
Yes, lona nako yenngwe ha re tsena ka attitude e seng right. Like I asked earlier on, what is the root cause if we want to find the solution, we need to look into the root cause of the whole problem. The system is failing because something went wrong somewhere. Now, if we come into the place and then blame nurses and doctors, they are only people like it, then bana lady frustration stubborn. And then later now we come with our frustration. So we need to bear that in mind.
So who should we blame, Sis Epele?
I blame our government, our leaders, because something is not being done right. And there's no honesty. Because and as much as we are being introduced to this system, we are being deprived the knowledge. Why is that knowledge? Because we could be balancing the two. And why is our system supposed to be dependent on drugs? Why are we not taught nutritional diet? Why is it not part of the subject?
You're saying ukuthi kumele siphinde sibuke elinye iso lezepolitiki ukuthi lona lidlala indima engakanani ukuthi sizibone sesilapha sikhona. Asambe nise break in masibuya, we taking your calls as well nama comments wakho to find out ukuthi wena ucabanga lapha kuhleli namhlanje. Welcome back to Daily Thetha. Sakhuluma about isimo semnyango wezempilo la eNingizimu Afrika ukuthi khamba kanjani, because if ubuka before siye break in semena ama question e contrast ebekhona weba uRuben ekhana ngokuthi ama nurse awekho ezingeni iningi la awekho bayithola sebesebenza umsebenzi wama nurse njengabantu abasuke benabantu abasebe admitted ezibhedlela. What is Sis Ipilenge yena uthi no kahle kahle ake siqale sinuke amakhwapha ezepolitiki, not on nurse not dokotela as well. Sis ZUKI, what is your comment out of that?
I think first, maybe to respond to what Ruben was saying, I think one of the biggest problems we have is that over and above the fact that we are supposed to be delivering service, in other words, taking care of our patients, we have this added burden of training people that are coming behind us. But the problem is we're actually not given the time to do that. So people who are not adequately trained are thrown into situations where they're not ready for them. And also because of our own, we're under so much pressure to get things done, we are not actually teaching those that are coming behind us how to be compassionate, because we lose that compassion because of our own the pressures of how many people that we have to see.
But look at Uruben. First, service agaitolanga, and then the attitude aitola. Where do I report?
You see, I think I agree with what he said with respect to the fact that if you have a complaint system in the hospital, it has to be functional. It doesn't make sense for somebody to make a complaint and you're told, well, you can't complain because you need to go get a lawyer first. Sometimes you find it's a systems error. If you understand what the problem is, you can fix that system. But if somebody stops you from complaining, it's a problem. And then so you leave, as a person who received that service, you leave feeling very frustrated.
Let's quickly rush into Ipileng as well.
With Ipileng, I think, once again, it comes to this, yes, we as human beings, forget being healthcare workers or whatever, we do have a responsibility. And I think if you look at the trends where we're going, to me, it seems as if we're getting really, really dependent. We want the government to answer everything. But let's put that aside. Okay, so we have that responsibility. Why is it that when we see our patients, we don't take the time to actually address these issues with them? It's not always about a drug. When somebody comes and says, I've got a pain, figure out what the pain is about before you just throw medicine at it without even explaining to the person what the problem is. Again, I think it's because we are so short-staffed that it's easier to just throw a pill at it or a Band-Aid.
Do you think ipolitiki iyazile ukuthi isiphushele la isikhona njengamanje, because Ipileng was saying ukuthi the structure isona seyinkinga kakhulukazi, is ipolitiki yona sidlala indima enkulu ukuthi sibe kwicrisis akisiyona namhlanje?
Yeah, I think it's sort of like a double-edged sword. On the one hand we're saying no, you need to sort of kind of take care of yourself, but on the other hand we have political parties that are saying we are the answer for you. We can do everything for you, but the truth is they can't, and they're also not equipping us to do anything for ourselves.
Okay. Sure.
You know, Kini, when I think about this, that episode that we did in the first season, yeah, essential services, and nurses are essential service workers. So I'm sorry, I think they must leave their problems at home before they walk into the hospital, and they must do their job. They must really do their job. But we've got a caller coming in from Mpumalanga. Anonymous, hello.
Hello, Likai.
Rona Likai, mama.
Reading, make a right if ngwana on a critical condition, baromele the student doctors.
Repeat that for me, Sasi.
Sorry?
Just repeat for me, darling.
If a patient is on a critical condition, baromele a student doctor without a professional. Because naki luzite ngwana waka ke na le student doctor ampota hore o wala report. Azanka kono muthusa na ngwana report.
Sure. Yo, and we really are sad by your situation, Sissy. But let's ask Snabo to maybe respond on that. Mama.
Okay.
So I'm not sure when she says student doctor, where she was when this happened, and it's most likely an intern if it's in Mpumalanga, because I don't think they have a medical school that side.
Yeah.
So it's highly unlikely that they'd have students outside. So as to exactly what happened, I mean, I cannot really comment on what Mama is saying, but I mean, it's unfortunate to this happening with a report. I mean, a critical person ought to be seen by someone fairly experienced to deal with the case decisively, and I should hope Uma will actually take it up with.
But can you demand somebody senior?
If you want someone senior and you feel that you're not getting appropriate healthcare, yes, it is your right to get appropriate healthcare. It's a constitutionally prescribed imperative.
Okay.
I think uhlelo sikhuluma ngalo namhlanje lithinta kakhulukazi abantu abaningi ngisho ngaphela kohlelo conversation yethu yaqhubeka ku social media sokwazi ukuthi monitor as well. Noma, you have something to say before we wrap up the show?
Yes, I do. I've been trained as umhlengikazi, ne?
Yeah.
And on top of it, I have been esibhedlela as umuntu ogulayo. And I have seen ukuthi esibhedlela we are really being failed. We are really being failed, especially esibhedlela.
Failed by who?
By aboness. Besides ukuthi, yes, I can see ukuthi, okay, fine. Department, yes, the department, the government, yes, they're also failing. They failing the workers. They failing us as South Africa in totality. But as trained as umhlengazi, ngiyazi ukuthi mangabe uthola umuntu ogulayo kwamele umuphe uthando. Kwamele you have to have that compassion for the person. You have to put yourself in that person's shoes and try to make the person ukuthi afile ukuthi unaye kule situation akuyo.
A quick one, Noma. Are you saying ukuthi nina njengama nurse uzibala nawe nihlulekile? Yes or no?
Yes, you know what? I would actually say
of his cutting.
Yes.
Because of his cutting?
Yes, most of us we have. Most of us we have.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, we have run to the end of the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. And bye-bye.